Hello, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. As you know, I'm very passionate about thyroid health and finding an alternative approach to healing thyroid issues. And our guest is so knowledgeable on this topic today. So let me introduce you to Fern Olivia Langham. Hi, Fern.
Hi, how are you, Mira?
I'm very good. You have such a beautiful, juicy bio. So let me read it for our viewers so that they know how much I value you and why you are on with us today. So Fern is a top LA-based instructor and wellness expert who is renowned for her artful approach to healing. She's the founder of Thyroid Yoga, and through her healing journey from Hashimoto's hypothyroidism and extensive studies of the technologies of yoga, meditation, breathwork, mantra, holistic health, and plant-based alchemy, Fern Olivia combines her passion for plants with her love for organic beauty to give birth to Ajay Alchemy as her luxury apothecary. As an advocate and passionate crusader for radical self-love and luxurious self-care, Fern Olivia works with men and women to create daily rituals to accelerate healing, build strength, and find joy in relationships, career, and all aspects of their life. In addition to her thyroid yoga practice, which is available internationally and speaks on the topics of natural beauty, self-love, meditation, and healing at events around the world. She has partnered with some of the highly respected brands in yoga and wellness, including Lululemon, Mind Body Green, Athleta, and her work has been featured in Cosmopolitan magazine and Charlotte's book. So, welcome, Fern.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. So, as I mentioned to our viewers, I want the focus of our conversation to be your experience with thyroid issues. And I know from having spoken with you that this was very much a personal journey for you, wasn't it? I
Absolutely.
would love to hear about it.
Absolutely happy to share. So, backtrack about more than 10 years ago, probably about 15 years ago, back in high school when I was just at the start of my journey, I was always feeling tired. I was always feeling like my moods were always going up and down. I had really bumpy red arms. I was sweating all the time. I was just feeling like no one really could understand me. I felt very confused and sometimes depressed. My mood would go up and down, and it wasn't just the puberty thing. It was that there was something deeper underneath that. And as I got tested, I figured out I had hypothyroidism and didn't know what that was at the time, but the doctor's like, here, this is a pill called Synthroid, and it's going to make your symptoms better. But there was no conversation around what the thyroidism meant. It was basically like, this is what you have, here's the name, here's the pill. Go home, you're still going to feel crappy, but this is what's going to help. Okay. So going to college, and I started binge drinking. I was eating really unhealthy foods. I was always sick, chronically at the health center. But I studied biomedical engineering, so my schoolwork was very, very hard, and I was studying, then getting sick, taking medicine, binge drinking. It was just like this cascade of just wreck on my body. My adrenals, I didn't know what adrenal fatigue was, but I definitely had that. I definitely had candida, but I was going to the health center and they didn't know about adrenal fatigue or candida. They were just giving me allergy medicines. I was pretty much taking Zyrtec every single day. Who knew I had food allergies? Was eating pizza all the time, but I was always getting sore throats and chronic inflammation in my body, and was always depleted and tired, would eat like boxed cereals and microwave foods and all of those things. And of course, that's why I felt terrible. But of course, they're just giving antibiotics on the regular because they just wanted to get me out of the health center. I was like their most frequent customer. So they were like, here's another Z-Pack. Um, and it got to a point after college where my body just shut down. I was working in corporate then. I began working in finance, and I was working about 15-hour days. And my body would just be so sick that I'd have to cab to work every day. I was living in New York at the time and would spend like $40 between cabbing to work and then cabbing home from work, just getting right into bed, turning all the lights off, and feeling miserable, and said, this isn't the way to live. And my blood tests were showing up fine, and doctors were like, you're fine, here, let's just increase your dosage of Thyroid. That you're always going to feel terrible, that's it. And as a researcher, I was like, this isn't how I want to live my life. I don't want to just be given a Band-Aid. There's something underlying here. What is it? And how do I heal from the inside out? So once I learned that I had Hashimoto's, I didn't know what that was either, but it took years for one doctor to finally say, oh, let's test the antibodies. And then was tested and had Hashimoto's. My mom didn't even know what that was, but I'm sure she has the hypothyroidism, but I'm sure she has the Hashimoto's too. So I felt like I was so alone in this struggle. I felt like no one could understand me. I was just taking tests upon tests to try to figure things out when I found yoga one day. And I found yoga on a lunch break working in my corporate job. And I'm getting shivers now because it was the first time in my life that I felt understood, heard, and seen. I felt like I was just living life like a zombie, and then all of a sudden this teacher just touched me, and it felt like home. It just felt nurturing. And for the first time, I was looking inside my body for answers rather than just outside. So I was always running, doing boot camp, spinning. Even though I was so exhausted, I was trying to lose weight. So I was doing all of those high-intensity activities. And I was basically just trying to silence my body. But then yoga was a way of slowing down and being introspective and listening to the breath and saying, oh, I can't jump forward from a down dog. What did I eat last night? Oh, I feel really heavy today. What was that? And I started making all these decisions and cutting all the toxicity out of my life, all the toxic relationships, the binge drinking, the promiscuous nights, like all not respecting myself. I started realizing that all of these decisions were affecting my health. And that was something new for me. And I know that so many men and women in this journey can relate, because for years we were told that we weren't enough and that we were broken. And now it's unraveling all those layers and saying, hey, I'm body, I love you. And I'm sorry I didn't listen to you for so many years. You were just speaking up with symptoms because something wasn't right. And you just wanted to be heard. You just wanted to be expressed.
Right. So
yeah.
once you started looking within and being introspective and discovering yoga, how did the journey continue for you from there on, so that you made the leap into thyroid yoga?
Yeah, so I was working the job in finance for about over 6 years, and during that time, I did my yoga teacher training. I knew right away when I started practicing yoga that I was meant to heal and teach, which was the whole reason why I went into biomedical engineering to begin with, because I wanted to ultimately heal and help and empower people. But the medical nature of the major that I was doing was it was linear, and it was more mechanical. That I'm a very creative person. I'm very empathic, and I wanted to be actually with people healing. That's where I find joy. I find joy being creative, and I find joy in speaking and touch and affection. I feel like that's what our planet needs. So as I was practicing yoga, I was meeting different teachers and seeing how they were living their life, and I was like, wow, that's how I want to live my life. I don't want to sit in an office all day with white walls and fluorescent lights and getting allergies all the time because the rugs were dirty. That was not how I wanted to live my life. So I did my training, did nutrition school, and ultimately created a practice that I loved, created thyroid yoga through all of my experiences on my own body, and then also studying Chinese medicine and Kundalini yoga and breath work and all different modalities that ultimately created this self-healing practice for my own self. And as I was practicing with my clients, I was realizing, wow, these technologies are potent. They need to be shared. It's not something that should be a secret. This is a way we can all heal radically and in a very accelerated time frame. I mean, all of the supplements and the nutrition and if you're taking prescription medicine, it will be powerful to a point, but if we're stressed out and we're not living the life that we are authentically designed to live, then those supplements and the nutrition can only do so much. And I knew that because I was on a gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free diet, anti-inflammatory, but I was stressed out so much. I was in an unhealthy, toxic, abusive relationship, so I didn't have my period for 2 years. And I was doing all the right things, eating right, trying to get as much sleep as I could, doing the supplements. And then when I left the relationship, I mean, this is a longer story, but when I left the relationship, all of a sudden I got the period back. And then it was like this light switch went off in my head that said, wow, the mind and the body are the same. The body was protecting me. And it's when we start to listen to our body and have compassion for our body and really understand what the signs are telling us, we have the powerful capability to heal ourselves.
What do you think is the reason there's such a rise in thyroid conditions and especially amongst women, right?
Especially amongst women. Well, the first main reason is that our bodies are being hit with so many chemicals and toxins that weren't here generations ago. So that includes parabens, carcinogens, heavy metals, GMOs. All of these things are bombarding our bodies and our immune and lymphatic systems, and we just can't keep up. And then you add adrenal fatigue into the mix, which is affecting so many more women today because we have an unbelievable amount of added stress to be, as Donna James calls, Wonder Woman. Plus, we have more poor eating habits that we had as a child because our parents didn't really know that the lean cuisines and those slim fast diets and all those microwave TV dinners, our parents didn't know how detrimental that would be to us, but that's catching up to us now, and it's weakened our digestive system, all the boxed cereals and the Pop-Tarts and all those things. Our digestive systems are so weak to a point where we see all these food allergies pop up all over the place. It's no coincidence that we're having all these food allergies. So our bodies are now in survival mode, and they're just trying to find a little bit of balance. And then plus years of oral contraception have thrown our hormones completely out of their natural rhythm, and we're finally just seeing now how altering our hormones for years wasn't really a smart choice, especially add in the 24-hour pill. I mean, I took so many of those in college. Those are not good. The people are now on the contraception that stops your period from even coming at all. So it's our bodies are so out of their natural rhythm. And the thyroid is a major control center in our bodies. So clearly when we are so out of whack due to the environmental stress and due to the work stress, the toxic stress that have taken over our endocrine system, we just can't, frankly, we can't keep up anymore. So our thyroids are being hit, and they're being hit hard. And the second reason, which is a really big reason that most doctors don't even explain to us, is that we have the fear of communicating our needs and desires. Many men and women in my practice, they say that they feel unheard in their work or their relationships, and they feel afraid to do what they really love and express themselves creatively. And why is that? Well, it's because sometimes we're afraid that if we do speak up, we'll be judged because there was some time in our past where we expressed ourselves authentically and truthfully, and we were rejected. And from that point, we created a story in our minds that we weren't worthy. So I've noticed in my practice especially that many of my clients have manifested the thyroid conditions because of a very long pattern, probably since childhood or an early relationship, of not speaking up or feeling blocked creatively. So a way that you can tell if this might be the case for you is, are your physical symptoms slightly improving with nutrition, with lifestyle shifts, with meditation, but there's just something missing. There's like this feeling of, I'm almost there, but I'm not completely healed. I feel like I'm doing everything, but what's missing? So what I ask my clients to do is to recognize any areas of life where you feel creatively blocked or unable to speak your voice or your ideas without being judged, shamed, or criticized. Is there something in the relationship that's, you feel like you can't be your spiritual self, or you can't really ask for what you want physically, emotionally, intimately? So what is really going on behind all of this is that we're approaching a major shift in global consciousness, one in which we are beginning to speak our empowered truth about our intuition, our gifts, and our needs. So with this shift in consciousness, the thyroid conditions have been showing up more and more frequently because we are being called upon right now in this moment to raise our consciousness and become leaders in the world. And our bodies are literally saying to us, hey, this blockage here, I'm sick of you not being true to you. I want you to finally speak up and be your powerful self. Because at this time right now, we're being called in the world to really be our excellent, magnificent, royal, powerful selves that we were born to be. And our bodies are like, okay, enough of being unclear, unfocused, because of all those feelings of lack of clarity, lack of energy, are taking away our energy from being our creative, our powerful selves. So
I love this. Everything you shared was so powerful. Thank you so much. I was thinking each one of the words that you spoke being like a little pearl of wisdom and then stringing to the next one and to the next one. That was really profound. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, what has been your experience with your own healing path? Do you feel that you're at the end of that journey? Do you see clients of yours healing? Or do you feel that thyroid is a condition that, just like doctors tell us, is incurable and we can only manage the symptoms, right?
I think it's twofold. I think that from what I felt in my own journey as well, is it took years of the chronic stress and not speaking up since a child. I mean, I've seen my family, my lineage of the insecurity as a voice. I see it currently in my family, so I'm like, wow, this was a long karmic, if you want to go into the spiritual side of it, it's a karmic lineage of insecurity. And if I look into past lives, I've noticed, yes, I've noticed that my soul has been through many iterations that it was abused. And as women as well, we've, this was, witchcraft, being spiritual and being, looking into this side of our healing. So from what I feel in my path is that I was afraid to speak up for many lifetimes. So it's really hard to expect that the body is just going to shift overnight with maybe 5 years. It seems like a long time, 5-6 years of healing work. No, it's a lifelong journey. It's a conscious, everyday, moment to moment. How am I going to listen to myself? What are the words I'm saying to myself? How am I treating myself? The nutritional plan too. I mean, it's not like 5 years, 6 years of off gluten and then all of a sudden I'm going to go on gluten again. It's something that you need to sustain for the rest of your life, and it's your health, right? It's not something that's just, okay, all of a sudden I can fall off the wagon and I'm going to be fine. We've been given this harder path because, like I mentioned, we need to step up and be powerful and be creative. And that's a daily practice. The self-care, the self-love, that's a daily practice. So when I say I'm considered myself healed, I think everyone is healed. We are never broken. It's an affirmation that I say to myself every day. I am healed. I am healed. Not I am healing, I am healed. Because when we can say those words with conviction, our bodies will recognize that. I went through a really long time where I didn't accept myself. I didn't feel worthy, and I would look in the mirror and look at all my flaws instead of looking in and seeing the beauty and the power behind my body. So when I was in that space, I remember I was working with a healer, and I went into her office and I was like, I think I'm allergic to coconut oil. I think I want to do a test to see if I'm intolerant to coconut. And she's like, honey, it's not the coconut. And I was like, yes, it is. I bet it's coconut. Is it coconut ghee? Is it coconut oil? Is it whatever? And she's like, all right, let's do this test. And we did muscle testing. And she gave me the affirmation, I love myself. And my hand went right down, meaning I didn't love myself. Then we did, I accept myself. Went right down. I was not an acceptance because I was feeling so bloated and so heavy, and I just didn't feel right. And she goes, okay, I'm willing to accept myself right now. And my hand, went a little bit down. So that's what I had to work on, was I'm willing to accept myself right now. And when we say these things like in the future tense, working up to I love myself, I accept myself, I am healed, it reprograms the body. So we're not broken. Even if we're taking thyroid medication, any form, synthetic, natural, whatever it is, it's so powerful and so potent to remind the body, I am not a patient. I am not broken. I am not my condition. So
I love your perspective. I
thank
really
you.
love you sharing that. I want to ask you that we tell the people how they can connect with you and learn more about thyroid yoga.
Absolutely. So I love to connect. I love to share this wisdom. I have a website called Thyroid Yoga. It's a method where I combine yoga, breath work, meditation, self-care, and introspection into the energetics behind why these conditions have manifested. So what it is basically is a next level up from the nutritional advice that we've received. It's like, okay, culminating all of that, how do we integrate this into a lifestyle ritual where we feel really, really powerful every day? And that's at thyroid.yoga. So www.thyroid.yoga. And I'm on Instagram at Fern Olivia and Facebook/yoga with Fern. I know that's so much, so I'm sure Mira will give you all the info. But I love just sharing and supporting and creating some video series, and I already send some meditations out in my newsletter. So if you'd like guided thyroid meditations, be sure to check that out, and even just to send me a story on what you're going through and how I can support you. I love this work. It's my dharma. It's my purpose.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today and inspiring us. And I love that we were able to do this. Thank you, Fern.
Thank you, Mira.